All right, Cam, let's talk some safety position. Amari Carter's an early enrollee, and because of the attrition there through graduation and loss to the NFL, he might be able to step right into a rotation there, top 30 safety.
Yeah, Amari Carter, he's the headliner at safety in this class, definitely. So he has a chance to come in and start, honestly. You have Jaquan Johnson, who I kind of spoke of a little bit out of turn, but he's going to start at a safety spot and move around in that secondary. Jaquan Johnson's a good blitzer. You know, he can tackle. Obviously, he's going to be that leader. You see him in the mat drills going on in the off-season conditioning and things like that, where Jaquan Johnson's stepping up as the vocal leader. He leads by example for his position group. So Johnson's going to do that on the field. You also have Amari Carter, who can come in and maybe start at the strong safety spot. And this kid is, he has size, 6'1", 195 pounds, and he'll hit you hard. If you look at his high school highlights, which I'm sure that still the recruit notebooks are still up on the website. If you go into the recruiting news tab, I did a breakdown preview of every single signee in this year's class, which took me a lot of time and is a lot of work. So please read them. But Amari Carter, if you look at the highlights in there, he plays with unwavering violence as Manny Diaz, the defensive coordinator, and Ifram Banda, the safeties coach. They want that from their guys back there, and Carter brings that in spades. So he's on campus, and he's going to push for playing time, a lot of playing time at safety. Romeo Finley is a sophomore. He's a 4-star kid out of Niceville. It's a real town in Florida, I promise. So he's there, and he has his flowing Jerry Curl looking curl locks. But he's a kid who is in the same kind of Amari Carter mold, 4-star guy who picked Miami over Georgia Tech and Clemson and somebody else I want to say. So he's Romeo Finley, another guy who's going to play, and he's going to have to play a lot as a sophomore. Robert Knowles from Miami Edison High School is a redshirt sophomore, third-year guy. He needs to develop still in his technique, but he definitely has athleticism and size to him, about 6'1", 185, 190 pounds. But if he gets his hands on a ball, he can catch it and go the other way. You're not going to catch him. He's very, very athletic. If you look at his high school highlights, because he has not really done anything in his first 2 years here, because we had the guys who went to the NFL draft in front of him. So it's hard to get the lower tier guys rotational snaps because you got NFL defensive backs starting. And I just want to say that I'm so happy that we started both Jenkins and Carter this year, as opposed to having started some of the other non-NFL caliber, non-Miami caliber guys at safety in previous years. So you see that, across the board, those guys are going to the combine, those guys are going to get drafted. So, you're left with Robert Knowles not getting a lot of snaps, but hopefully maybe he develops. Also in the 2017 recruiting class was Derek Smith. That's that kid's name. I was trying to remember it earlier in a different video. But yeah, Derek Smith out of Jacksonville Trinity Christian. He was listed as a wide receiver on most sites, but everybody who was recruiting him was taking him as a safety. So 6'1", 6'2", 200 pounds-ish. A high school teammate of Kendrick Norton, starting defensive tackle for the University of Miami. So he's a guy with size and skill also. With his ball skills from wide receiver, he can definitely make some plays in the air, and he'll hit you hard. He had a hit in the state championship game for Trinity Episcopal or Trinity Christian that should have been targeting, but either way, it was. If you're talking about unwavering violence, go look at his highlight and go look at that. I think it's the first or second play on Derek Smith's huddle highlights. You're going to say, well, which hit is he? Oh, you're going to see it, and you're going to know what I'm talking about. So that's another guy. He's not an early enrollee, but he's going to look in to maybe steal some snaps and get some playing time at safety. And also redshirt freshman Jeff James. This is Edrin James's nephew from Orlando Olympia High School, I want to say. But he only played 1 year of high school football and was first team All-State, largest classification. So he's already on campus. Obviously, he redshirted last year. So maybe he still needs to develop as he's a young player in the game of football, as opposed to whatever athletics he was in previously. So, but Amari Carter and Romeo Finley, I think those are going to be the two guys who are really going to fight for that starting job opposite Jaquan Johnson. But if you're looking, Carter, if Smith, gets in and he learns his stuff over the summer, Carter, Smith, Finley, James, Knowles, and Johnson. I mean, that's 5 or 6 guys who could be able to get some snaps, but, hopefully the cream rises to the top, and whichever the top 2 or 3, well, in addition to Jaquan Johnson, because he's the top guy at safety, and that's clear. But whoever the other, top 1 or 2 or 3 guys are, those are the only guys we play. Hopefully we're not digging too deep down the bench because, this is a new day and new coaching staff, and we don't need to be playing guys with names that I'm not going to say anymore. But yeah, we've moved on from some of those lesser talented guys in the secondary.
Cam and I are knocking out the positional units one by one, getting you set for spring practice. So if we go on comfort level on a scale of 1 to 10, this would be the unit. If we combine the cornerbacks and the safeties as one unit, the secondary, this would be the unit across the football team that would rank lowest, I would think, right?
Nope, second lowest.
Offensive line.
Thank you, exactly, because the offensive, right, boom. We brought in 5 offensive line signees, and they've just been bad for years and can hopefully develop. But, yeah, I have a little bit more confidence in the defensive backs, especially Manny Diaz, the defensive coordinator. He designs a great defense, a top 20 defense. You know, and they teach the guys to tackle. Just like you talked about, 3 of the guys who are missing off of this secondary were the top 3 tacklers on this team, because the secondary there is designed for them to make plays and to wrap up and make tackles. And with him, with Ephraim Banda, safeties coach, and Mike Rumpf, Miami Hurricanes alum, first-round draft pick, and now Miami cornerbacks coach, those 3 guys, you know, designing, developing, and instructing these defensive backs, I feel not as, you know, bad as I otherwise would. I know that there's we might not know all the names of who's going to be the top guys right now, but I'm more comfortable with those guys and that leadership than I am in offensive line right now. So, you know, as we sit here in, you know, late February, I would say, you know, I would pencil in Javonte Dean, Malik Young, Jaquan Johnson, and either Romeo Finley, Amari Carter at safety, with Trajan Bandy maybe as your nickel back in the top tier, the top 5 defensive backs. You know, if D. Delaney decides to come here as a grad transfer, obviously add him to that group as well. So you can have a solid group of, you know, your top 6 where you can rotate, and then hopefully we get a little bit of depth where if we have to play, you know, 8, 9, 10 defensive backs throughout the course of the season, because guys get injured and guys get winded and things happen, you know, we have the depth to be able to do so. So there's the talent there. There's not been the production yet, but, you know, we do need to see who these guys are going to be, but I feel okay because I've seen the product and the development that these coaches are able to do.